Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're exploring a fascinating holistic healing method that honestly challenges everything we normally think about our senses. I really want you to hook into this concept right off the bat. Sound isn't just something you passively hear. According to sound therapy practitioners, it is physical medicine you can literally feel on a cellular level. In our modern world, which is just full of chronic stress, pain, and neurological fatigue, people are increasingly looking for alternatives to traditional interventions. So we're going to unpack the mechanics, the biology, and the daily protocols of tuning fork therapy to understand exactly how acoustics are being used to restore balance. Let's dive in.
So what happens when you apply the exact frequency of a musical note directly to human bone? It's a beautifully provocative question, right? The answer lies in bridging that gap between invisible sound waves and physical human biology. You see, practitioners use specific, mathematically precise vibrational frequencies as a completely non-invasive solution to modern crises, like chronic joint pain and sympathetic nervous system overdrive. It's really about taking precision acoustics and using them to positively impact the physical, emotional, and even spiritual levels of the body. You are fundamentally changing the cellular environment using nothing but resonance. How cool is that?
All right, Section 1. Anatomy of a tuning fork.
So let's look at the tool itself. A tuning fork is a highly precise instrument. They're most commonly crafted from specific grades of aluminum or steel to make sure you get a really consistent resonance. At the very top, you have the two prongs, which are formerly called tines. When struck, these tines don't just make a noise. They vibrate horizontally, rapidly moving back and forth to create intense kinetic energy. And this energy travels directly down into the stem, that's the long part connecting the prongs to the base, and finally pulls into the very bottom, called the footpiece. Think of the footpiece as the physical bridge to the human body. When you place that footpiece onto a dense area, like a joint, your human bone literally becomes a sounding board. It amplifies the vibration deep down into your connective tissues and fascia.
Moving on to Section 2. Two distinct families, weighted versus unweighted.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that in the world of sound therapy, tuning forks aren't all created equal. They actually fall into two distinct families that serve entirely different purposes. First, we have weighted tuning forks. These literally have small round weights firmly attached to the very ends of their tines. Now, these weights kind of act as a dampener for the audible sound you hear in the air, but they massively amplify the physical vibration traveling down the stem. Because of this, they're designed to be placed directly on the body, driven into bones, aching joints, or tight muscles for deep, localized physical pain relief. On the flip side, unweighted forks lack these extra weights. As a result, they produce a much clearer, delicate, and ringing audible tone. You use these unweighted forks completely off the body. A practitioner might hold them near a client's ears or sweep them through the biofield, which is the energetic aura radiating around the physical body, to identify and release unseen energetic blockages.
All right, Section 3, the masterclass on proper activation techniques.
The physical mechanics of striking the fork require absolute precision to get a clean, healing wave of sound. Let's walk through it. Step 1. You hold the stem firmly, but make sure your wrist and your fingers remain completely relaxed. A rigid, tense grip actually chokes the vibration and blocks the kinetic energy from traveling down the stem, and we definitely don't want that. Step 2 is absolutely crucial for creating the perfect acoustic wave. You must strike the tines exactly 1/3 of the way from the top. If you strike right at the fragile tips or all the way down at the dense base, the overtone just won't be pure. Finally, Step 3, pull back quickly. The moment the metal makes contact, bounce it off the activator. This immediate rebound ensures you don't instantly dampen or muffle the very vibration you just worked so hard to create.
So what exactly should we strike these forks against? Well, practitioners rely on a few specific activation tools to preserve the metal. A hard or soft rubber puck resting on a table is excellent, as is a specialized rubber mallet. If you're using weighted forks, you can actually just softly strike the weighted tip against the fleshy part of your palm. The heel of your hand provides a perfect natural bounce. Now, while some practitioners tap the forks against their own knee for convenience when they're actively moving around a treatment room, experts strongly caution against this for daily practice. Hitting your own joints repeatedly with solid metal can become quite painful over time and may even cause long-term bruising. Ouch! Definitely better to stick to a puck or your palm. Section 4. Healing the physical body.
When it comes to deep physical relief, 128 Hz is an absolute heavyweight champion in the weighted fork category. It's part of what sound therapists call an osteoset, meaning it's highly effective and safe when placed directly onto dense, major bones. Imagine placing the vibrating footpiece right onto the sternum in the center of your chest, or directly onto the sacrum at the very base of your spine. The deep, rumbling, earthy vibrations of a 128 Hz fork radiate outward through the skeletal structure. It is incredibly soothing for alleviating stiff joints, melting away stubborn muscle tension, and physically forcing an overworked nervous system to just slow down and calm itself.
Now, when applying this physical pressure, there is a very specific protocol. You activate the fork and place the footpiece tip exactly on the localized pain point. You leave it there, feeling the intense vibration transfer from the metal down into the inflamed tissue. And then you wait. Right before that vibration completely fades away into silence, you lift it off, reactivate it, and smoothly place it back. You'll want to repeat this entire process 3 to 5 times per pain point for maximum relief. Doing it 10 or 20 times isn't necessarily better. When stimulating the body's natural biological healing response, less is often more. Give the tissue the acoustic signal it needs, and then just let it do the work.
To put this into perspective, you can achieve remarkable biological shifts in just 30 seconds. Yeah, really. According to the research of specialists in the field, applying these specific vibrational frequencies directly to human connective tissue stimulates cellular vitality and causes a rapid, measurable spike in the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vital chemical our bodies naturally produce to fight off bacteria, increase vascular blood flow, and relieve tension. The major problem we face today is that our natural nitric oxide production just plummets when we're deeply fatigued, sick, or chronically stressed. Sound therapy aims to mechanically jumpstart that chemical production using targeted acoustic vibrations to flood the system with vitality in just half a minute.
Section 5. Harmonizing with musical intervals.
We can also elevate the practice by combining frequencies. Practitioners frequently utilize musical intervals, which means playing 2 specific complementary frequencies together at the exact same time near a client's ears. The most famous and widely used of these is the perfect fifth, which typically combines the C and G unweighted tuning forks. When you strike these 2 forks simultaneously and slowly bring them close to the left and right ears, the interval creates a profound sensory experience that bridges the physical and the energetic. Practitioners state that this specific acoustic harmony rapidly relieves stress, actively balances the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of the nervous system, further boosts that crucial nitric oxide production we talked about, and deeply harmonizes the mind and body. You literally feel your brainwaves slowing down to match the perfect mathematical ratio of the sound.
Okay, Section 6. Tool care, cleaning, storage, and crucial warnings.
You have to remember these are high-precision scientific instruments, and their therapeutic value relies entirely on their structural integrity, so daily maintenance is totally non-negotiable. For basic cleaning, you should wipe away dust and natural oils from your fingerprints every single day using a soft, dry microfiber cloth. If your forks happen to get stained, you can gently use fresh diluted lemon juice or a very mild soap. However, you must dry them immediately and thoroughly with a soft cloth to prevent oxidation, rust, and the development of black spots on the metal. When it comes to storage, environment is everything. Keep your tuning forks in a well-ventilated area with highly stable temperatures, ideally between 15 and 26 degrees Celsius. Extreme heat or cold can warp the metal over time. Furthermore, always store them in individual protective velvet or canvas pouches so they aren't clanking and rattling around against each other in a drawer.
And this brilliantly illustrates a vital warning you absolutely must remember to protect these instruments. Strictly avoid striking 2 tuning forks together or hitting them against hard surfaces like a wooden table or a metal stand. You might be incredibly tempted to tap 2 forks together just to hear them ring like you would with chimes, but doing this aggressively damages their delicate metal structure. No way around it. It creates tiny, microscopic dents and abrasions in the aluminum or steel. Over time, these dents permanently cause frequency deviations. A fork that's supposed to ring at exactly 128 Hz might drop to 126, effectively ruining the fork's precision and destroying its healing capabilities. You really have to treat them with the reverence you would give to any fine acoustic instrument.
So, we've explored the physical anatomy of the forks, the precise striking techniques required to activate them, and the fascinating biological science of how sound vibrations interact with our cellular form and our nervous system. Whether you are seeking deep, localized pain relief with a heavy-weighted fork driven to a tight shoulder, or an unweighted perfect fifth interval swept around your head to calm an overactive, stressed-out mind, the acoustic tools are right here. The science is compelling, and the practice is beautifully accessible. The final question is, are you ready to feel the frequency and balance your own biology? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. We'll see you next time as we continue to unpack the fascinating ways we can optimize our holistic well-being.